600 years before the American Revolution, a group of English nobles were fed up with their king. So in 1215, they forced him to sign a document that would change history forever. It was called the Magna Carta, or in Latin, the Great Charter. The Magna Carta limited the power of the king and established the principle that everyone, even the king, must obey the law. The barons complained that King John was abusing his power. He raised taxes without consulting them and went to war in France, racking up huge debts. When he tried to raise more money by seizing church property, the English nobles rebelled. They marched on London and forced the king to sign the Magna Carta. It wasn't exactly a libertarian uprising. The Magna Carta mainly protected the rights of nobles, not commoners, but it did establish some important principles. For the first time, the king's power was limited by law. Subjects could no longer be punished without a fair trial in court. And the king couldn't just take people's property to use as he pleased. He had to follow due process and give people a chance to defend themselves. These were revolutionary ideas whose time had come. Over the next few centuries, the ideas of the Magna Carta grew and spread. In the 16th century, English philosopher John Locke built on these ideas in his book, The Second Treatise on Civil Government. Locke argued that the purpose of government is to protect the natural rights of its people, life, liberty, and property. If the government violates those rights, the people have a right to overthrow it. That's why, he said, governments must get consent of the governed. If the government becomes a tyranny, the people have the right to rebel. Across the Atlantic, colonists in America were having similar debates about the tyranny of the king. When the American Revolution began, one of the first acts of the Continental Congress was to draft a list of grievances against King George II. The king had, among other things, raised taxes without colonial representation, tried to take property without compensation, and sent troops to enforce obedience. In other words, he was violating the very principles established in the Magna Carta. So when the colonists wrote the Declaration of Independence, they echoed the language of the Magna Carta and Locke's philosophy. Like the barons who rebelled against King John, the colonists argued that they had a right to overthrow an oppressive government. The Magna Carta may have been a medieval rebellion, but its ideas were very modern. It established the principle that government power must be limited, and that the people have a right to rebel against tyranny. It's a powerful lesson for all of us who want to live free.